2020, when the playoffs are in August and big trades happen in the middle of the second round. We have a trade to announce. Kasperi, Kapanen, and era wasted! Now something tells me this one's not going to get like 300,000 views. It doesn't have Phil Kessel in it. Sorry, two-time Stanley Cup champion Phil Kessel. How times have changed. When the Leafs were eliminated by the Blue Jackets and the Penguins were eliminated by the Montreal Canadiens. At their post-season press conferences, were there two GMs who sounded more pissed off than Kyle Dubas and Jim Rutherford? I don't think so. Both were mad, both wanted change, so they called each other. They might not even be done dealing with each other. I don't know. Here is the trade. The trade is between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Pittsburgh Penguins acquire Kasperi Kapanen, Pontus Aberg, and Jesper Lindgren, while the Toronto Maple Leafs acquire Evan Rodrigues, a 2020 first-round pick, that's 15th overall, David Warsofsky, and Filip Hallander. Now, the way this trade broke was hilarious, because if you did any counting, you'll be like, oh, that's a 7-piece trade. Well, the way this trade broke was Kasperi Kapanen is going to the Penguins, followed by like 15 to 20 minutes of silence. In the middle of it, David Pagnotta tweeted that Jack Johnson was going the other way. Frig off there, David. And Andrew Berkshire tried to tell me that Jack Johnson was coming to the Leafs. Frig off, Berkshire! I think this might actually help explain the reception to this trade, because Leaf fans have been pretty happy, Penguins fans have been pretty mad. I mean, one group thought they were getting Jack Johnson, the other thought they were getting rid of him. Is Jim Rutherford watching? Listen, two things can be possible. Jim Rutherford is a championship-winning GM, and that signing was terrible. But we're getting away from the trade. The real trade was for Brian Rust. Nope, that was another fake one that was out there. Stop retweeting fake accounts. So it's interesting. The way the trade trickled out was Kapanen is going to the Penguins. Okay, Kapanen and Jesper Lindgren are going to the Penguins. Oh, it sounds like the Leafs are going to get a little bit of cap space. Okay. So at first it has all the makings of a cap dump. The Leafs are about to trade Kapanen, who makes $3.2 million against the cap, and they're sweetening it with a prospect, and they're going to get some space. But something doesn't seem right. Yes, the Leafs can use the cap space, and yes, the Leafs have enough talent on the wings that they can afford to trade a player like Kapanen, but to dump him entirely? That makes no sense. And Jesper Lindgren, like, that's not enough of a sweetener. That dude is a 23-year-old defenseman. He might have something in him, and I mean, Pittsburgh seems to get something out of everybody, but he wasn't even an AHL regular with the Marlies, who were not good this year, by the way. So, 7-part deal. Let's get the smaller parts out of the way first. Jesper Lindgren, I just said, he's a former 4th-round pick. He's a right-hand shot defenseman, which the Leafs need desperately, and that should tell you everything about what they expect of him. Again, he might end up being something. Pittsburgh just has a talent for that sort of thing, but again, 23, couldn't hold down a regular AHL spot. It'll be interesting to see what Wilkes-Barre can do with him to start. Pontus Aberg, mystifying player. He was a former 2nd-round pick, but that was a long time ago. Scored some playoff goals with the Nashville Predators, but that was a long time ago, and Pittsburgh Penguins fans even got to see it. Weird player when he was with the Leafs. Didn't get a call-up until deep into the winter, and when he did, he was on like the top line. Really good offensive talent, not much else there. He could definitely score at the AHL level. He could be exactly the sort of person I could see succeeding in Pittsburgh with like a 40-point season or something like that, but he's an RFA. He has to be re-signed. And on the Leafs side of things, David Warsofsky is a defenseman. He's 30 years old, undersized, seems like a career mostly minor leaguer. You can call him up if you have injuries. I wouldn't be surprised that part of the reason he was involved in this deal is he makes $700,000 no matter what, whether he's in the NHL or the AHL. But for the Leafs, that is a variable contract. And what that means is he still gets to make all his money, but it doesn't count towards the cap. Now, getting into the meat, Kasperi Kapanen. So funny how things come full circle. I actually saw Kasperi Kapanen get drafted live in Philadelphia at the 2014 NHL draft by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now he's back on Pittsburgh. Part of me wonders if part of the conversation with this trade was Jim Rutherford going, well, you know, he seems like a decently developed prospect. And Kyle Dubas is going, yeah, I know, we did all the work. Fascinating player, and it's really interesting with Pittsburgh's coaching situation. So they still have Mike Sullivan, Stanley Cup winning coach Mike Sullivan, no assistants. And the reason I bring that up is Kasperi Kapanen needs direction. He really needs it. And if you give it to him, he can be a special player. In fact, one of his best games this season was in a 4-0 win against the Pittsburgh Penguins. In that game, I think he had a breakaway goal. He had a fight against Jared McCann for some reason. That'll be an interesting conversation. And when the Leafs got Kyle Clifford, there was all this talk, oh, Kapanen's playing differently. He's hitting guys. He's playing nastier. It was just something in his game they didn't see consistently enough. He's a mouthpiece. He loves it. He is an agitator. He's got to do it more. And it should potentially be a red flag for Penguins fans that Jim Rutherford referred to Kapanen as someone who can help out in their top 6. In case you're wondering what I'm referring to, this is Mike Zeisberger on Twitter quoting Jim Rutherford. Kasperi is a good young player that brings speed to our lineup and plays the way we want to play, said Rutherford. Having previously drafted him, we know him as a player and feel he can improve our top 6. Now, I mean, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, anything is possible if you play with those two, but Kapanen has had chances over the past 2 seasons to play with John Tavares and Austin Matthews, and we can have a debate which duo was better. They're both really good. Kapanen never looked really great with Matthews, definitely didn't look great on the left side of Tavares. He mostly plays right. They tried him on the left. It wasn't good. Third line, great. I mean, Leaf fans, let's not get revisionist here. This is a guy who has banged in 20 goals, and he's still in his early to mid-20s. I wouldn't rule it out that he could get 20 again. But the thing with Kasperi Kapanen and the Leafs is maybe more than any other player on the team, the Leafs organization knows what they have. Incredibly fast, incredibly skilled, but, you know, they've had their problems with him over the years. He was scratched for the Marlies' first game of their 2016 Calder Cup run where they went pretty deep, but then he gets in the lineup and he's one of their best forwards at 19 years old. Disciplined for being late and then gets to the NHL level again as recently as this season. Disciplined for being late. Super fast. He's got a knack for some pretty skillful plays. Playoff performer. He had that great double overtime winner against Washington. People forget he had 2 goals in that game. He had the game tying goal for his first NHL goal in that legendary game against the Penguins in 2016-17. He had that ridiculous goal against the Bruins that was ruined by the Leafs completely pooping the bed in the 3rd period. And like I said, he had that run with the Marlies. People are pointing out that he had 0 goals in these playoffs. It's just not consistent with how he's been in the playoffs. Super skilled on the penalty kill. He's an X factor. He's like a guaranteed breakaway almost every penalty kill. But at 5-on-5, whether he's on the right or the left, he is going to fly that puck into the corner. He is going to stop up, and he is going to look for a pass or take a shot directly at the chest. That's just what happens. Kasperi Kapanen had this to say about himself, and this is from an article by Luke Fox on sportsnet.ca. Bit of a sophomore slump. Puck wasn't going in for me, Kapanen said. Overall, my game was very iffy, something I wasn't too happy with. I thought I tried to get it back for the playoffs. Me and I feel our team could have done a lot better. So it's kind of a bad way to end things with the team, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity they gave me for these past 5 years. On the social side of things with Kasperi Kapanen, him and William Nylander were often seen attached at the hip, so Willie's losing one of his best friends on the team, and that's got to be tough. On the social media ends of things, Penguins fans, you're going to enjoy following him or something. He and his girlfriend are always posting pictures and sometimes some very interesting comments. We all have to know the name Cheeks Kapanen, and now you do too. The Leafs needed to make some tough decisions because of their cap situation, and they took a look at Kasperi Kapanen and they thought $3.2 million. That is not an unreasonable cap hit for this player. Can he give us more than a 3rd-line winger? And their conclusion was, not on our team, no. They put him in Zach Hyman's role, and he could not out Zach Hyman. And Hyman even found this amazing scoring touch this season. The Leafs have Nick Robertson coming. There's going to be another roster spot. Is he going to be better than Kapanen right away? Probably not, but down the road, it sure looks like it. So if you can get value for Kapanen, do it. Because yes, he'll be great on your 3rd line, but he's just a luxury they can't afford, and they have other guys, Janssen, Kerfoot, who they might not even be able to keep, Mikheyev. If you can get value, go out and get it. Oh, well, value is a defenseman, so the Leafs are getting Justin Schultz, surely. Simmer down. The Leafs need defense, but that's not the only way to win a trade. Then there's Evan Rodrigues coming in. Began his career with the Buffalo Sabres, sort of the Robin to Jack Eichel's Batman. As Don Lecision points out here, his model is not a huge fan of Evan Rodrigues after this past season, but he's been a solid depth piece in prior years. This trade was sold as a cap dump, which if they keep Rodrigues, who makes $2 million against the cap, but is an RFA, if they re-sign him to something in the neighborhood of that, it's not much of a cap dump, is it? Even if they sign him to 2.2, let's say. You're saving $1 million. That's a lot to you and me, not really to the Toronto Maple Leafs. For an organization that doesn't really have that many centers, he took about 250 some odd faceoffs this season. That's okay. The Leafs seem to like him. It sounds like they've liked him for a while. That's okay as well. I mean, it doesn't seem like game-breaking stuff, though. To me, that sounds like also, which we then get to the two biggest pieces. Now, it was announced that the Leafs were getting a first-round pick in this trade, and the 2020 draft is supposed to be pretty good. So my first thought was, is it this year? And it turns out it is! So here's a fun little wrinkle from Cap Friendly. Jim Rutherford was hired as the GM of the Pittsburgh Penguins on June 6, 2014. In that time, the club has drafted in the first round only twice! 2014, Kasperi Kapanen, and 2019, Samuel Poulin. They also won 2 Stanley Cups in 2016 and 17. That seems worthy of mention. So unless something changes on this front, the Penguins will only have 2 first-round picks between 2014 and 2020, and the 2014 one that they picked hasn't been on them for 6 years. Now, right now, that first-rounder is magic beans. We all thought, oh, Timothy Liljegren, he's going to be friggin' amazing, and well, he hasn't really contributed much to the lineup yet. He still might, but he was a 2017 first. But you can get a pretty good player at 15th overall. It's why so many Leaf fans were sweating the fact that the team gave up the 13th overall pick to Carolina to get rid of Patrick Marleau's cap hit. Who could the Leafs get around then? Well, now we're getting into the draft and it's a complete crapshoot. Who knows? A guy people have talked about is that goaltending prospect Askarov could be available. Kevin Papetti pointing out that Amirov could be available. He scored that Svech-like goal. You might have seen him on Twitter a couple months back. So yes, the first round pick is potentially magic beans, but sometimes those beans are magic. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but you know who was picked 15th overall? Erik Karlsson. And if they can get a defenseman who shoots right-handed, who is just really good at hockey and not even necessarily a Norris winner, I think that would be a win. Lastly, and maybe the most complicated, Filip Hallander, a second-round pick from 2018. Now, the Leafs have traded a bunch of second-round picks to get players at the trade deadline over the years, Brian Boyle, Thomas Buchanitz, but the fact is, the Leafs could have had Hallander in the second round in 2018 if they really wanted. But instead, 52nd overall, they selected Sean Durzi, a right-shot defenseman who they ended up sending to the LA Kings in the Jake Muzzin deal. Maybe the Leafs thought he would fall. He didn't. The Penguins scooped him up 6 picks later at 58. But here's a quote from Hallander himself. This is from Mark Masters. Filip Hallander on the message from Kyle Dubas. So he's spoken to Kyle. He said they have looked at me for a long time from when I was drafted, and he had an eye on me and how I developed and stuff like that, and thought I played really well and was happy to trade for me, so really happy. A really good first impression. Always trying to be the player's GM. But it's not just Dubas who likes him. From Scott Wheeler, Filip Hallander was the Penguins' number 3 prospect, maybe their number 2. Here's my full look at him, including video. I'm a big fan, and obviously he has an article about him on The Athletic. From Stephen Ellis of the Hockey News, Filip Hallander is not a bad return for the Leafs. A solid two-way forward, nice skater, and is always on the attack. He'll remain in the Swedish Hockey League for the 2021 season. He's not the main point in Toronto's return, but that's a piece you absolutely love to have in your system. I think he'll crack it as a third-line guy, but as an effective one at that. Now, you might say, forward? What? They have too many of those! Not true. You can't have too many of anything. The Leafs have a surplus of wingers. Man, even with Kapanen gone, I would say they have a surplus of wingers. They do not have a surplus of centers. Yes, they have Austin Matthews. Yes, they have John Tavares. That's a huge help. But beyond that, I wouldn't call it depth. Beyond that, they have Alex Kerfoot, who, is he a full-time center? He played a bunch at wing. They have Jason Spezza. Is he a full-time center anymore? Frederick Gauthier, is he a full-time center at all? Adam Brooks, can he be a full-time center in the NHL? And beyond that, throughout the system, it's sparse. Nick Robertson? No, that's a winger, man. That's another winger. So I know there's been trades recently where you go, oh, the Leafs getting another forward. No, they need centers. bad. The Penguins have that two-headed monster in Malkin and Crosby, but they're always looking to improve at that third line. Is it Bonino? Is it Brassard? Is it McCann? So what do we have here? The Pittsburgh Penguins get immediate help in their lineup with Kasperi Kapanen, as well as Pontus Aberg, who is maybe a depth piece for them, and Jesper Lindgren, who may or may not ever play an NHL game. The Leafs get Evan Rodrigues, who they like. I'm not sure if he's going to be a regular in their lineup next year or even re-signed. Warsawski, I don't know if he ever plays a game for the Leafs, but a first-round pick in 2020, which is supposed to be a good first round, and a second rounder from 2018 who the Leafs like. This trade was first advertised as a cap dump. That's just not what I'm seeing here at all. If it were a cap dump, it would be the Leafs sweetening the pot for the Penguins, which they just didn't do. The Leafs, this probably would have been a decent trade if they had just gotten the 15th overall pick, but to get Hallander too? The Penguins paid value for Kapanen. Now this is the tricky thing. The Leafs got good value in this deal, yes. Did they get better on the ice from this deal? No, I think they got worse, actually. To me, it comes down to who would you rather have, Kapanen or Rodrigues? I mean, I think most people would say Kapanen. But the great thing about cap space is you could use it to get other players. But wait, if you re-sign Rodrigues, you cut into that cap space that you gained by trading Kapanen. And then you'll start talking yourselves in circles, and here's the thing. It's August. It's still the second round. The next NHL season isn't going to start until at least December, probably January. Don't twist yourselves into knots. Dubas isn't done yet because he couldn't possibly be. But out of this deal, the Leafs get a number of things they need. Cap space, we're just not sure how much yet. A first round pick, they didn't have one, and center depth within the organization. They don't really have it. What do the Penguins get? A couple maybes, but also Kasperi Kapanen, who is still young, has a 20-goal season under his belt, is a really dynamic penalty killer, and he's one of the fastest players in the league. He could be really interesting for them. And just like with the Leafs, where I said, well, there's probably more trades coming, don't go twisting yourselves into knots. With the Penguins, oh, we just got Jason Zucker. Oh, I think Jim Rutherford is going to be doing work. So the Habs kind of did the Leafs a favor. That's weird. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. And as I was editing this video, Dubas with some juicy little comments. I don't think this is going to be it for us. Really? Well, I mean, it's exciting, but any of us could have told you that. Dubas on the first round pick they acquired. We're open to moving it if the right deal comes along for someone that could help us. That's a juicy one, Kyle. And Dubas says they'll be talking to Evan Rodrigues' agent about the opportunity for him with the Leafs. So he's potentially in their plans. So, Leafs fans, Penguins fans, neutral fans, leave a comment in the comment box down below. I want to hear from you. What do you think of this trade? How do you think the Leafs did? How do you think the Penguins did? Did the Penguins get better? Did the Leafs get better? Did the Penguins get what they need? Did the Leafs get what they need? Let me know. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Not going to say the name again. I'm not.